Cheers. Welcome to Almost Rich, Almost Famous with Bets and Bridge. Man, it has been a minute since we've been in studio, but good reason. We have been traveling ladies, meeting all sorts of people, famous people, rich people. One of them, I would hope.
Not famous people, poor people, just a whole bunch of people out here we've been meeting.
But we've had a significant amount of rich and famous people, and I'm just hoping that one of them will help us drop the almost at some point. But until then, it's a lot of chatting. I don't know what anyone's saying.
Okay, and the reason, by the way, we don't know what anyone is saying, because these people, Bridget and I are in our 30s, and so I feel like it's just like a normal people age. Like 30 is like, we're kind of like normal people, right? But then you meet the 22-year-olds, not normal. Then you meet the 70-year-olds, certainly not normal.
And I don't know if it's not normal, but the thing is, and I don't mean to like sound conceited here, but all these age ranges think that they can relate to us, and they think that we understand them because we're like right in the middle.
Right.
So 22-year-olds like, man, you guys are so cool. Yeah. And the 70-year-olds like, wow, you guys are like young and real cool. And we're like, you guys, you're rich and famous, but I don't know about the cool factor.
Okay, but like this goes back to my whole point. Remember on one of our most recent podcasts, I said, we're at the age where like, all right, a 22-year-old's trying to talk to me.
True.
70-year-old's trying to talk to me. Like, I don't know which one to go. I don't know which one to go with.
Well, you're actually wrong, too.
Why? Because I can't go with any of them?
No,
because I'm taken?
Well, that, first of all, yes. But when you're talking about the people that are into you, no. It's only the 22-year-olds that are into Betsy, and it's only like the between 50 and 70 that are into me, and it just doesn't really make a lot of sense.
I mean, I'd prefer the range of 50 to 70 as opposed to like 21 to 26.
I don't know. I feel like that's a compliment that you are in your mid to late 30s, and the 22-year-olds are like, hey, they think that you're their age.
All right, I have to tell you something. I have a severe complex.
About what?
My complex is that these 22-year-olds have an old woman fetish.
That's not true, though. Because
Bridget.
No, Betsy, I've been with you when we've met these 22-year-olds, and they're like, wow, Betsy, you're just so beautiful.
Yeah.
And they're obsessed with you. And then you're like, okay, well, first of all, I'm taken. And second of all, I could be your mom. And they're like, no way. And then you tell them your age, and they're unfazed.
They're unfazed because there's more into it. Because then all of a sudden their wheels start turning, and they're like, "Yeah, I used to watch mature porn. Maybe this is my chance." Like it's like a thing.
No, it's not.
Bridget, yes, it is. I'm telling you. Like it's like a lot of times, like we talk to our friend Kiara, who's a black girl. She's like, "Oh yeah, some of these white dudes have black girl fetishes." I am telling you, I am the like elderly fetish.
Like, I would consider you more a cougar to 20-year-olds than like an elderly person, Betsy. I would never look at you. If I were 20, I wouldn't be like, that's an elderly woman. That's my fetish. Okay, I'm going to try to sleep with her.
Can I explain this to you? Because this is what I've thought about in my head. I'm like, all right. So after I tell somebody my actual age, and they're like, oh, yeah, nope, still into it. I'm like, what? Do they think my like vagina looks different than girls their ages? Or like, do they think that like my body in any way looks different than like a girl of like 22? Because by the way, it doesn't.
Oh,
same. It's all
no elderly body over there.
All good over here.
22-year-old body still rocking over there. Maybe they think, wow, she must be really experienced and know what she's doing in bed.
Maybe. Thank you for saying that.
I mean, that could be it.
So not an old woman fetish. Thanks for talking me out of that.
But I will say both of us are really good at because these people are like well-known people in the world, 22 and 70.
Correct.
And once we get over the fact, like me with the 70-year-olds, like, hey, sorry, I'm not really into older men. And you're like, I'm actually not into children. I'm not a pedophile, and I am taken. We always are good at positioning it, but we have this podcast, and you would be great to come on.
It would be great.
So we've been trying to schedule guests. We haven't had a guest on the podcast in a really long time. So again, we have a handful of people that we think would be great, and they all age between 22 and 70. Some in the middle. Actually, there's none in the middle.
Nope,
I lied.
Sure are not.
Nope, it's 22 or it's in
70.
that like 60 to 70 range. And so a lot of them are in group messages with us, me and Betsy, and the person. Some of them, okay, Betsy, you handle this one. I'm going to handle this one. And we always end up having to come together because I'm so confused what anyone is talking about.
Yeah, we literally have to say like, okay, so-and-so said this. Bridget, do you know what that means, or should we Google it?
Yeah, and I'm like an 80-year-old soul, so I relate better to the 70-year-olds anyway, so
Yeah.
it makes sense for me to take on those. The 22-year-olds, I'm very, very confused.
For example.
Okay. Yep.
All right. For example, so we are on a text chain with a younger person, and some of the things that this guy says, we're like, wait, what is happening? So my favorite one is FR.
I had zero idea. So we asked. We have this podcast, which we talked about already in person, and then said, okay, well, when would you be free? Would you want to come on the podcast? FR. And Betsy's like, do you know what that means? I'm like, no clue.
Urban Dictionary. Get the Urban Dictionary out.
Rob, do you know what it means?
For real.
Gosh.
For real.
I would have no idea.
Asking a question like, oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
Type thing. That's probably what it was.
All right. What about, okay, so this one is always, Bridget and I have a hard time with this one, like putting it into context. Like, I think we understand at this point what it means, but like it's a little tough. Bet.
Rob had to teach me this one probably about a year ago now. Because I still, and I don't know how to really explain it either. I was trying to tell my sister about it because my sister is 10 years older than me.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, all right, am I like getting old? Like, why don't I understand what like FRFR means, what bet means, what WYA means? Like, why don't I get it? She's like, well, I don't either. I'm like, so am I like in your age range now where it's like the 30 to like 45-year-olds, like we're just all
30 to 70 basically at this point because we literally don't understand anything. So Bridget, it would be like, I think this is what it would be. Rob, you can confirm. If I said, Bridget, I'm about to be at the studio. I'll meet you there. And then you say,
bet. It's like,
and then I say, bet.
no.
What do you think about that?
Okay.
What do you think if I say bet, though? Like a double bet.
Yeah, I say double bet. Yeah.
I say double bet.
Well, I do feel pretty cool that I know what cat means now.
Okay, so use it in a sentence. Then, if you know it, if you know it so good.
Betsy, we are going to be rich and famous by 2023. No cap.
Bet.
That means no lie. FR. See, look at us. We're 22-year-olds.
Oh my God, we are so cool.
But
what about? I got this one the other day. HBU.
HBU. Can you tell me what was said before that?
Like, I just came to the store. HBU.
How about you?
Yeah. God,
See, when
you so cool.
When you like think about it, but this is what I'm wondering. So these like young, early 20-year-old people, like, do they not know how to speak regular English? It actually is concerning for me. Like, what if they have to like write an essay at some point or write a letter of recommendation?
I'll tell you.
Like, they're not going to know how to spell anything.
Well, we're just going to adapt because look at us here. You're saying cap. I'm saying bet. Like, we're good. Like, it's fine.
Well,
we
can adapt. They don't know how to adapt to like the regular English language.
I know, but then like when we all die off, that's the language.
Okay, it's like WIA. What if I said like, where are you at? Would they be like,
where are you?
Why don't you just say like WIA?
I think it's just like a convenience thing. I really think this is what these like people know. What about your old people friends? You have one specific old person friend that does the most fucking annoying thing, and you know it.
Yes, and it's every single word in the text is capitalized. So say it says, "Hi Bridget, I hope you are well today. What are your plans for the weekend?" Like, "Hi Bridget," that makes sense. Both of those can capitalize.
Okay, great.
How are you?
Grammar, please.
How is capitalized. R is capitalized.
Yeah.
U is capitalized.
Yeah.
I'm like, now I don't think that there is like a functionality part of the phone where you can say like, hey, I want to make sure I capitalize every word. So that means he's going through every single time when he's texting, like, I'm going to capitalize this word. I'm going to capitalize this word. And then he always signs off on his name. For the podcast, we're going to call him Matt. So it'll be, hi, Bridget. How are you? Hope you had a great weekend. Anything fun happen?
Matt.
Like, Matt, I know. I have your number. I know it's you. Why do you have to sign your name every single time?
We were talking about this a little earlier. My favorite is when somebody leaves you a fucking voicemail.
Oh.
All right. First of all, sir, please don't leave me a voicemail. Just ever. Like, I don't care if you're on your deathbed and these are your last words to me. Text me about it. Don't leave me a fucking voicemail. All right. So when they do leave you a voicemail, they say, hey, Bridget, how are you? It's about 4 after 11 on Tuesday, September 27th. I was just calling to see what you were doing. Give me a call back. Again, this is Matt. My number is 330-555-5555. Matt, fuck yourself.
Matt,
I got all the info.
Yes. I see when you called. I have your number. I know it's you. If it's something important, text me. Hey, give me a call when you can. It's about X. That is an old people thing. Young people do not call.
Young people don't, well, I don't know if we're young. Even medium people like us.
True.
We don't leave fucking voicemails. Like,
True.
just don't. Just don't leave me that voicemail.
No.
Just like, what got into you?
I don't know. And like you think like, it is an old person. I think, well, maybe they don't know how to text. Maybe no one's ever taught them how to text. But then I have like, my 70-year-old friend that likes to capitalize every word and sign his name off. Like he even knows how to use emojis.
Well, I know. Why don't you tell the people about his favorite emoji? It's probably the least used emoji of all time. That is Matt's favorite emoji to use.
It's the pink heart with the bow around it. Hope you had a great weekend. Heart with the bow. Sometimes he'll add the smiley face with the angel too, the angel halo.
Yeah.
Like those are the two most random emojis, but every time.
I use the angel for like deaths only. Like if I'm saying like, oh, like it's like your dad, like the day that your dad passed away.
Thoughts and prayers. Yeah.
Thoughts and prayers. Angel face. It's the only appropriate time.
Well, I don't know what the appropriate time is for the heart with the bow. Maybe like Valentine's Day. Like I got you some chocolates. Like here it is via text.
If you didn't get me a gift, like a very nice gift, please don't use that.
Mm-mm.
What do you think? Okay, this is the one we need to bring Robin because this is the one I am really struggling to deal with. It's the face. It's like the little smiley face with like the smoke blowing out. Like this one.
Yeah. So I think you can use that a few different ways.
Okay. Can we tell you about the ways that Bridget and I would use that?
Yes.
Okay, Bridget, you go first.
Okay, so this is the emoji that's like, it kind of looks like.
Yeah.
So I would use it as like, if
What's that again?
That's actually exactly what it looks like, by the way.
So Betsy, if you're like, hey, I don't know what to wear tonight, I'll be like, send me a photo and you look hot. I could see, I would never do it, but I could see where it makes sense. If like send like the fire emoji with that, it's like, oh man, too good. I would use the one that's like the reddish, orangish face with like sweat coming down off the head and it's going like this over that. But I can see where that one might make sense.
Okay, and like I think that you might be right, by the way.
Okay.
Like I think that could be it because that's the only context.
I'm a lot younger than I think.
A lot younger than me. I would think like if I said, Bridget, what are you wearing today? And you sent me this and you were like a fucking turtleneck because it's cold outside. Like blowing like air, like you can like see your own breath because it's really cold outside.
See, I think that's an old person thing. Only old people would think that. Rob, who's right?
No, I think you're just totally right. But I think it could be used in different variations. Like it just depends. I mean,
like, is there any?
Okay, what about like Browns beat the Steelers this past weekend. I'm about to go out tonight, and if someone replied that, is it like, whoo, she about to get after it?
Yeah, maybe. Rob,
does that make sense?
So if I use that emoji, I'd be like, yeah, I'm staying in. Like, good luck.
Oh, like it's like about to get crazy outside.
See, all right, we're both struggling a little bit here.
Yeah. Okay, well, I don't know. I think I'm going to implement it. The other one that we've recently learned from our friend Kiara, who's like not that young, by the way. Sorry, Kiara, but like you're like more our age. She uses the moon face, like the dark moon face that looks like, what's it look like, Bridget? You know how to do that one.
It's like this.
Yeah, but there's like a little smirk to it too. Oh, yeah. So Kiara likes to say that one is like shade. Like that one's like shady.
Like I've got a juicy story for you guys, and then like sends this moon.
Yeah,
and it's like more like someone's doing something shady.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm about to tell you.
So
that one I'm like learning too.
Yeah.
So I am learning the emojis. Do you have to tell the story about say less though? Because I learned it from Rob in the funniest way.
All right. So like, okay. So tell the story about what exactly Rob said, because I think like a lot of people won't understand what say less means.
Yeah, I know.
As you did not either.
Yes. Okay. So at one point I had to do something for work, and it was supposed to be posted to the ESPN Cleveland Twitter account. Rob was having trouble getting Wi-Fi, and he's like, do me a favor. This needs to be posted. Can you just post it from your account? Screenshot it, send it to me what you're going to say, and then if all looks good, I'll retweet it to ESPN Cleveland. Great. So I type out the tweet, I screenshot it, send it to Rob, and I said, is this good for you to retweet? And his response was, say less. And I'm like, okay, well,
Pause.
I must have said too much.
I get that. I would be like, oh shit, like maybe I should shorten it up, because as people know about you
I like to
tell
talk.
really long stories. You're very long-winded as a person. So when somebody tells you to say less, it means like,
Zip it up.
shh,
And I read the tweet and I'm like, yeah, you're right.
You're
I could
right.
probably just say like,
less.
yeah. And so so I delete some of it and I go, all right, I deleted the tweet, like now we're good to go. And he said, huh? I'm like, well, you told me to say less. And he just sent me all these like crying, laughing emojis. I'm like, Rob, I don't get it. What's going on? And he's like, put what you already had, the original one. And so finally I'm like, can you just explain to me? He's like, Bridget, I was saying like, say less. I got it. I'm about to retweet it. Say no more. I'm like, oh, so say less means say no more.
Right, but even if he said say no more, you could have still been like, you're right. Like I should have said less. Like
No, because I know the saying, say no more. Like that's like I need a
so do
favor
our
from you and
fucking
you say no
grandparents.
more.
Like that's why we're on the grandparent side and Rob is on like the young cool people side and we're just not.
I kind of think we almost are.
I think it's too far in our conversation to go find the screenshot.
We can post a little. We'll post a little of the screenshot.
Well, and then he taught me what like no cap means, which is like
yeah, no
yeah,
lie.
no lie. So then I had gotten a DM from someone. It was about our podcast, actually.
Mm-hmm.
We posted a clip of our podcast. I don't know what I was saying, but a dude replied with just the blue cap emoji. And I was like, well, I don't get it. I had to screenshot it again to Rob. And I'm like, well, does this have something to do with no cap? He's like, well, he's calling you out and saying like you're lying.
So just the specific blue cap means you're a liar.
It means like cap. You're capping.
Capping.
Oh,
Really?
Use it as a verb. So it's capping.
oh, I know what it was.
Capping.
I know what it was. The clip was like, I mean, I know I can like outdrink most dudes. And this specific dude I could not outdrink. So he sent me the blue cap. And I was like, huh? And he was trying to tell me like, you're capping. You're lying.
So we work with a lot of like young people here. We work with a lot of young people in general. And we've recently asked them, like, if I looked at you and I was so serious and you said something to me and I said to you, bet. They were like, yeah, no. It like doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like so like we can't even like get away with it, I feel like.
But it doesn't make sense because like I think of like some of our co-hosts who are older than us, they say it and then I chime in to do it and they all start cracking up like, Bridge, no. I'm like, well, why is it cool for you guys to say it and I can't?
It's also like urban and you are white and I am Italian.
And I think and too, because I did say it on the air the other day, but I said, oh, you capping. I'm like, no, you can't like say it like that. You got to say capping.
You capping.
Capping. You got to say it like that, apparently.
All right. Well, I think I'm good. I'm probably just never going to say it.
I think I'm just going to keep talking like I talk too. It just, we
Yeah.
have to know enough about it to like understand the young people and just like accept the weird old people that like to leave voicemails and capitalize every word and have to tell me who it is at the end of every text.
What are your most used emojis?
I probably the crying laughing emoji because that's because of you, because you told me I'm not like, when people say LOL, it's like,
I fucking hate LOL.
okay, can you explain why you hate LOL?
Yeah.
Because sometimes I want to say it to you. I'm like, no, she's going to think I'm being a
No.
brat, so I better do the crying laughing emoji.
No, like if you're actually laughing, like if you're physically sitting in your seat and I send something and you are laughing, like you feel yourself like shaking laughing, like you're like laughing, then you say LOL. Then you send LMFAO. Great, because you're actually laughing.
I'm
But if you're
laughing.
being-
My ass is like running away. I'm laughing so
like,
hard.
But if you are, God, you are really old. You just tried to pretend like you can say cap and I can't. No, bitch, you are actually older than me. You just said something crazy.
What did you? I was just laughing my ass like I'm laughing so hard my ass is falling off and it's running away.
Yep, that was the one. I'm happy you said it again so that people could confirm. Wait, what were we saying? So
Why you don't like LOL? If only you like it if I'm actually laughing.
if you're actually laughing, but if you're being like a dick and I say like, oh, I can't meet you at this place, and you're like, LOL, okay, cool, like have fun. Don't say LOL to me then, because you're not actually laughing. You can only say LOL if you're actually laughing.
Okay, well,
think about that?
you gave me a complex about it, so now I just avoid that at all times. So that's why I'm gonna go ahead and say, because I am a laugher,
Okay.
that number one used emoji, crying laughing emoji. 'Cause I don't say LOL or haha anymore. I just send the crying laughing emoji all the time. This
What's
is my
two?
second most used one.
Oh, love that one. That's in my tops.
Okay.
That's my third.
Okay, my third is just like the streaming tears,
yeah.
and usually I'm not using that as I'm crying. Actually I use that one in a lot of contexts. That's probably why it's most used. Because if I'm like laughing really hard, I do crying laughing emoji.
Yeah.
And like that one, like I'm literally crying. It's so funny. Or like I hate my life. Send that and that.
We should have an episode where I literally just show you a random emoji and you recreate it for the camera. Because I feel like that's really where you're good. You're a great imitator.
I'd say it's pretty good.
So, like, for example, why don't you do this one for the camera?
Okay, let me try.
That's a great one. All right, I'm just
That
gonna
one was kind of hard.
I'm gonna do one more.
Okay.
How would you do this one? Hold on. This
We're
one.
gonna have to like put this on here. Okay. Wait, I gotta
That was
like.
good.
Okay,
That was
wait.
a drool face.
Wait, okay, hold on. Make a little drool.
Well, no, we didn't want it to be like life sized. We just like
What do you mean, lifestyle?
like we just wanted it to be like just like a little like play on the emoji. You didn't have to come with the
Oh.
saliva.
I know, but I felt like I looked like not right when I did the first one.
No,
Like this is like.
Okay, this is the last one. Then we have to
Alright,
move
I know,
on because
okay,
no,
yeah,
we
yeah.
just have to move on. 'Cause
I
this is
know,
just
I don't like this game
inappropriate.
anymore.
This one.
That one. That's the toughest one. Okay. I'm gonna look at it again. Okay. You know, I think I'm a better imitator when it comes to, like speaking. That's too hard. You know the one, Rob. That one's too hard.
You know the one. I thought it was a good try. Oh
Yeah,
God,
how do you
was
do that
good.
one? Like-
Yeah. All right, we'll get back to that. We'll do a special episode on that. It'll just be like
I gotta do some practicing.
like Pictionary, yeah. Like
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
that game where they put the thing on your head and you like have to act it out, and then I have to
Yeah.
guess which emoji it is. We should play that game.
Oh, that would be a
That's
good
actually
one.
a really good idea. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like you might be pretty good at it too.
Yeah. Okay. Whew.
Okay, so those are my
Anyway.
top 3 used ones. You know what other one I use a lot though?
What?
Let me go back to them. Rolling eye emoji.
Oh yeah. The
And
best.
then the cheers of the champagne. I'm usually always sending that to you, or I'm tweeting about almost rich, almost famous, and I
Yeah.
like to use that.
That's true.
I like to use that one.
I mean, mine are all just like mean. Mine are like skull and crossbones. Mine are like the 2 eyes, like just like I hate you, I'm staring at you. You know, just like the 2 big eyes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you do use that one.
What
What about eye roll?
eye roll is in there.
I feel like you use this one a lot too.
I use this one a lot, and I use like all the sick faces.
What's sick
like
faces?
the green sick face, like the green throwing
Oh.
up face, like all of those.
Like the
Yeah.
Yep.
So that makes sense. Yep.
I know the one. Okay, but when it comes to emojis too, some people like, again, maybe it's a young person thing, or maybe just it's a texting habit thing. But some people like strictly text in emojis, and I never know like when the conversation's supposed to end. Like, are you just like, if you send me like cheers, okay, I just assume like that means all right, I'll see you there for a meeting for drinks. But sometimes like people want the conversation to keep going. Like, well, you never replied to my last text. Like, well, you just sent me like a text that didn't need a response.
Yes, but I feel like it just depends on who you're talking to. If I'm talking to you,
Yeah.
I'm gonna send you like, I'll just send you like a thumbs up to what, like I'll just like it. I'll
yeah.
like your
Like,
text.
you would never send
no,
me a-
not a thing. No, but like I'll just like your
Yeah.
thing. Like I don't like I'll meet you at Marble Room. I'll like it. Cool. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing else to be said. However, if you're talking to somebody that you like and there
Mhm.
is like a thing between you two, and I like something, it means like fuck yourself.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've actually really ever liked to text. If I do, I usually love it just to show the person. Like, I'm not being a brat. I'm just acknowledging I
Yeah.
saw this message, so I'll give a love.
Yeah.
But that is true. So if like it's talking to someone that I want to talk to, but their last text to me is something that doesn't need a response, I'm like, all right, so how do I keep this conversation going? Maybe I'll like, do I start a new conversation? Do I love it and hope that they want to start a new conversation? Or do I just let it be and like hope for the best?
So what do you typically do? Like let's give an example.
Am I supposed to tell this?
Yeah, tell the story.
That's really?
Okay.
No, I know. This is like one of the weirdest, craziest things I've ever done.
But I also, let's preface it by saying you were like drunk, I think.
Well, yes, I know. Until I know I was drunk, because then when he followed up about it, I'm like, what is he talking about? And I read, I'm like, well, now I got to keep it going.
All right, so just give a tiny bit of the background, maybe. Like you met this person X amount of years ago, situation.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So meet this guy. Yep. Years ago. Go on one date. lives out of town. Pandemic happens. Great. So we stay in touch for a little bit, but you can't see anybody like for a long years, basically. So in the meantime, he blows up. He's like very famous now. And we're like, damn it. Like, well, I should probably keep in touch with them from time to time. Like, he would be great for the podcast. So like, I'll give a little like heart eye emoji to a story here and there just to like keep on top of mind. Like, hey, remember me, that girl you went on a date with a couple years ago? And he will do the same. So he actually was the one that replied to one of my Instagram stories and said something about very complimentary of my looks, whatever. Okay, so I'm drinking and I'm like, great. Well, let's spark this thing back up. I don't know. And I'm like, well, how you been? Great. How have you been? Great. He's like, yeah, it seems like you've been really busy, been traveling a lot. I'm like, yep, you too. Said, any plans to come to Cleveland anytime soon? He said, nope. I'll actually be in Europe for a couple of months. And I was like, oh, wow, like, where are you going? And so he gives me a list of, oh my God.
So it's a list of places. So it's like, I'll be in Switzerland, in Germany, I'll be in Italy, Ireland, France, like all these places.
Yep.
Okay.
And I said,
Just trying to relate.
yep. And I said, oh my gosh, well, when are you going to be there? I'll be in Ireland at the end of the month. Why did I say that?
Well, did you have any plan to be in Ireland at the end of the month?
No, Betsy. and I
Like, were you getting nervous that the conversation was coming to an end?
Yeah,
and you're
yeah.
like, God, I got to relate. I got to say something that's just going to like reel him in.
Well, actually, okay, so I think he kind of egged me on. He says, why? Do you have any plans to be in Europe? And I'm like, yeah, actually, I do. Well, which I could, honestly. I can do whatever I want at any point I want. But the fact that I, like, was so adamant about it, I'm like, yep. And he said, when? And I well, at that
made
point,
up a date.
then I gave him a date and I panicked. Well, then, okay, actually, this is why I know I wasn't totally drunk, because then I looked up when he would be there. I'm not going to give context of what he does for a living, but like I was able to Google like when exactly he'd be there. So I purposely picked a date when like I knew he was not going to be in Ireland and said, oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
So even in my drunken mind, I was able to like come up with a story. And I was like, oh man, I'm just going to miss you. I have a wedding there at the end of this month. I'll be there then. He's like, well, can't you just stay in Europe for a little bit longer and pop on over to England? I'm like, yeah, probably not with work. And literally, mind you, I like don't know what happened, but then the next morning I'm reading it. I'm like, I just literally told a man that I was going to be in Ireland at the end of the month and like kept a story going and like said it was for a wedding, all of the things. Like, that's pretty weird.
You know, and it also was just so interesting coming from a lady who says like, oh, I am the worst liar. I am the worst liar of all time. I can't lie. It's the worst. Like,
well, catch me in person.
Don't ever make me lie because I won't be able to do it. And look at you, lying your ass off.
Well, I certainly did. But this is what I'm like, well, now I know I'm capable of via like text or DM. In person, if you would have called me out and been like, well, I thought you said you were going to be in Ireland. I'd be like, oh my God, the wedding got canceled. Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I would not be able to. You would totally catch me. However, that DM, I'm reading it and I'm like, I mean, it does sound pretty believable. But let's get this part. I get a follow-up text a little bit later.
Well, of course you did. We were both going to be in Europe almost at the same time.
He followed up about. I'm like, all right, great. I passed out. The conversation's over. Oh no. He followed up via text. Man, I'm really sad. Is there any way you can like switch your Ireland trip? I'd love to be there when you are. And I'm like, oh my God, is he ever gonna let it go? Like, why didn't I just say like I'm gonna be in like Chicago, like something much more normal that like you actually could meet? Because he's trying to meet me in Ireland.
Because you were so desperate to keep the conversation going.
Yep.
You were just like, I will do anything that I need to do to keep this going. Like, for example, when I like have tried to keep conversations going for like work purposes, and I say something like, I saw bread today and it made me think of that time you ate that sandwich, and like just like to try to relate to this person. Like I saw a baby today and it reminded me that you were probably a baby once.
Oh my God.
Like anything. Like just let's just keep this going. Like, you know, I saw this woman with brown hair and it reminded me of your mom's brown hair. It's like there's must
How the
be
heck are you?
We should.
Yeah.
How you been?
It is weird. And then there's people that you don't, it's like the opposite, and you can tell they're doing it to you. And they'll be like, oh my God. Speaking of Ireland, like, I saw a shamrock. I remembered you were an Irish dancer. How are you? I'm like, can you leave me alone? I don't want to talk to you.
And so what do you do in that case?
Well, usually I'm like real short with them, or I like give it a like, or like a haha. like the push it. And then
Yeah,
like
the
it's
push
a
and
ha
the ha-ha.
Yeah.
So,
That's like my way of saying, stop trying. I don't want to talk to you.
okay, so what is your, like, meanest response? Like, if I am just annoying the shit out of you and, like,
Yeah.
I just keep going. Like, we have some people on Instagram who just keep going and going and going and going.
I mean, my meanest response is no response. Just ignoring.
But then they just keep coming. They think you didn't get it or something.
No, those are like fans. I'm talking about like if it's a dude that's interested in me and like maybe we talked in the past and they try to resurface. I'm like, no, I'm not into it. Don't talk to me. Like if I entertain even a little bit, they're like, oh, okay, she's responding. I'm going to keep trying. But if I don't give any response, then they usually get the hint like, oh,
Why
she's
don't you
really not
just
into it.
why don't you just say, I'm not into you anymore?
Well, you asked me my meanest response. I think the
No.
meanest way is saying like, I'm just not going to respond.
But you think that's meaner than saying, like, I'm just not into you anymore? Like, either A, you took too long, B, you got fat, C, like, you're ugly, D, fuck off.
You're like an asshole. Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, for me, I think
Betsy, I'm sorry, I gotta interrupt. Like, it's really struggling. I'm like losing train of thought because I keep looking at you and you're so pretty. And I'm like, I don't even know what she's saying right now. Like, her eyes are like sparkling.
can you come? Can you? Can you
So
come
how are you
get
gonna
her?
handle that?
I
Oh,
would
but
say
it's
this is
true.
what I would say. I would say, Bridget, that is so sweet. I really appreciate you saying all of that, but I am in a very serious relationship, and so
No, but I meant that. I wasn't being weird. Oh. I'm not hitting on you either.
I think that's
Like,
no
nope,
cap.
No cap.
No.
Bet.
Bet.
FR.
FR.
I'm being totally FR. FR all day when I tell you you're pretty. For real. But you're right. I probably should work on being more direct, but I'm just like not.
Yeah.
Okay, like for instance, there was one.
Yeah, you should.
I got a DM and I was like entertaining it for a moment. Probably just like bored, whatever.
Yeah.
And he was like
Yeah.
cute, and I'm like cool. I'll like go back and forth for a little bit. But I'm like, I'm actually not interested, and
Yeah.
I'm never gonna go on a date with you. And so the conversation, like whatever he said last, it didn't need a response. I'm like, all right, well, cool. I entertained this for long enough.
Right.
Like I don't need to keep going. And then he follows up and says, well, here's my number. Why don't you just text me if you ever want to hang out? Great. Well,
Great.
I'm not gonna text you.
Yeah.
So you're right. Then he like did follow up to like reply to one of our stories or whatever. And so then I'm at this point like, do I just keep ignoring or do I have to like give a like here and there?
No.
I don't know.
I think if you're actually not interested, I think it's okay. So these are the things, because I know we're like in the position that we're in. We're constantly like trying to get people on the podcast, like people we think would be good, blah, blah, blah. So if it's somebody that like you don't think's ever going to help you or that you're never going to date, I think you just say, like, I'm really sorry. I'm just not interested. You don't even need to say you're sorry, because you're not sorry. You're just not interested.
Yeah. But
It's
for
like, I'm
me,
not
okay,
interested.
I'm just saying this is where I'm different. If I were to go out of my comfort zone and be so bold to say to someone, here's my number. Why don't you just text me if you ever want to hang out? And I see that they've seen that message and I never hear from them, mortified. I will never, ever reach out or talk to him again. And so the fact that he followed back up, I was like, oh, no, I saw that message. I see the number.
See, I disagree. That does not deter me. Like when I have reached out to people asking them to come on the pod, you know this, and they
Yeah, but that's
see my
different.
message. They see my message and they don't respond. Kind of, but it's still.
No, that's more like sales. Like, well, I'll harass
It's
someone
sales.
till the end of the day, like to come on sales. But if I'm like into it, no. If it's someone I want to date, there is no way I'm like, I put myself out there and I know that they've seen it. They have my number now and I don't hear from them. They're clearly not interested. Cool.
Or-
Never going to hear from me
or
again either.
On the other side is they're interested in ugly girls, so they're not interested in you. Did you ever think of that?
Well, that was nice, but no, I don't think that's usually the case.
See.
Well, but by the way, I don't do that anyways. I'm never sliding in. Like, here's my number.
You never do. I like try to get you to do it all
I know.
the time. And so like
Maybe I'm scared of rejection. I don't know.
I know, which is weird because we are in sales, so like I feel like that kind of like dissipates after time, but I get it. Okay.
Different kind of rejections.
Different kind of rejection, but I try to suggest all these things. I'm like, all right, Bridget, go the serious route. Like, okay, so let's say you're talking to John. Let's say the guy's name is John.
Okay.
And so I want Bridget to say like, hey, John, I just wanted to say how great I think your content is. And I would love to set up some time to like get a drink. So that's like the serious like version. It doesn't work. So then I'm like, all right, Bridget, go the sexy version.
Send them your own post on your Instagram of you in that bikini pic in Vegas and just be like, hey, man, it would have been really great if you were here.
Yeah.
I'm like,
okay.
Oh, God, I'm mortified even thinking about it.
Then if that one doesn't work, then it's like, go the emotional route. Like, John, I would really love to get some time. You seem like the sweetest, most lovely guy, and I think you and I could really have a good time together, you know? So then it's like the emotional. There are so many routes to go, and guess how many fucking routes you go? Guess how many?
Well, none, but you're also
0.
You're also forgetting the main one that you do.
What's the main route?
The psycho one.
Oh.
Like, you know, she likes she likes to threat.
Yeah.
Like,
all right, cool, John. If you don't want to respond, don't think you're ever going to get a chance to talk to me again.
that's the one. That is the one she always does. Because, okay, we'll have a whole nother episode on, like, Instagram and following and all the different rules there. But, like, recently, it's been happening a lot lately. I'll get, like, dudes that will come over and just like a bunch of my photos but don't actually follow me. And so, Betsy, I'll be like, yeah, this is weird. They keep doing this, and they'll reply to a story, but they're not actually following me. And Betsy's like, well, at this point, just be like, okay, dude, what's your deal? Are you going to fucking follow me? Are you going to ask me out? I'm like, well, I don't think I need to be that aggressive about it. But
like I do, because one of the routes is gonna work. Like
True.
if he didn't respond to like sweet Bridget, then like maybe he'll respond to psycho Bridget. Like that's the one that typically works.
all right, how many messages will you send in a row before you're like, all right.
I have like 0. I like don't care. I
So
like
you'll
don't
like
care.
you'll like send 5 messages in a row and like, cool, I don't care.
So when Sunny and I first started dating, I would literally call him 45 times in a row
Just like
until
read out.
dude answered. Yeah, and then I'd have my friends chime in. I'd be like, listen, when my phone goes to voicemail, then you're up. So then you go.
Like that means like he blocked you, and so then
No, he didn't even block me, but like my phone ended and I like couldn't press like send fast enough. So then I had my girlfriend call him, like texting, calling, like, listen, I'm going to make you talk to me.
and like somehow it worked. Like you're still with them,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he probably tried to break up with me like a whole bunch of times.
and you're just like still here.
Like I'm
So the
literally-
psycho route
like,
works
if you,
for you.
Like if you tell somebody, like, listen, you can go do whatever you want, but I'm not going anywhere. Like when you turn around, I'm still going to be here. I'm psychotic.
You like, actually are, and it's so weird because you're not like that with like anything else or anyone else in life. Like you actually like don't like when anyone bothers you, and you're like, I actually just want to hang out with people I want to hang out with.
Yeah.
If you like follow up with me too much, you're really gonna annoy me. But here you are. This is how you got your dude was by like stalking him.
No, I think he was like scared. I think he was like, if I don't end up with her, she's gonna fucking kill me.
Probably.
Which is probably the truth. Not anymore, because it's just too much effort. Like I put in a lot of effort back then, and like it really took a lot out of me. I don't have it anymore as I've gotten older, but
See, you got a little more laid back. Well, this is an interesting one for me too, even if, and maybe it's just because I'm single and I like to be single, and then sometimes you're bored and so you want attention a little
Yeah,
bit, and then when
for
you don't
sure.
get it, you're like, well, like, no, like I'm better than you. What are you doing?
yeah.
So this is where like I'm a little weird, but I think most people can relate. So for instance, say I go on a date. Well, this is actually kind of a real story. Go out with some guy. Okay, he's great. So nice, but right away I could tell like this is going to be a beautiful friendship.
Yeah.
Like it's never going anywhere.
Yeah.
This is never going to be a romantic, intimate type of relationship, but you're great. But in the moment, I felt like he was like obsessed with me, and I'm like, oh God, you're so attractive and you're so cute and so nice, but like, I don't know why, you just can't feel it, but this is going to be a problem for me because you're going to be obsessed with me
You're
forever.
gonna be obsessed, yeah.
I literally felt this
Mm-hmm.
the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Then we leave and nothing. No, like, that was fun. Great to see ya. Let's
Was
do
there
it
like
again
a little
sometime.
smooch action?
No,
No smooching.
no.
We're going back to you being the worst liar of all time. So it just happened because it happened in person. Okay, but whatever. Anyway, keep going. I don't care.
So we leave, and I'm like, well, this is weird. Like, nothing back. I don't want to date him. I don't ever. Well, I would like to see him again at some point. Again, it's like one of those weird things where already friends, maybe try to be more than friends, and it was just right away, not gonna happen. I'm like, but wait, no, like you were like,
You're supposed to want me.
yeah. So when I don't hear, I'm like, well, okay, I'm gonna throw the bone then. He's like embarrassed because I turned him down, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I'm gonna say like, great to see you.
Yeah.
Whatever, so much fun.
Try
whatever.
to get him back. Try to get him back in and obsessed.
And just like a casual response back. Like, yeah, so much fun. always fun to hang out. I'm like, okay, well, it doesn't need a response, so I'm not going to like say anything back. Well, then just nothing. I'm like, okay, I don't want you, but there's something about the fact that he is not the one into me. I'm like, well, do I double text? Even though I don't care.
Do you double text? You like don't double text.
I know, so I'm not. I'm not going to.
And so like you are so stubborn that you will go forever.
Yeah.
Even if you think he's not obsessed with you.
Yeah, I mean, it'll bother me, but I'm not going to like follow up again.
So you will not text somebody twice in a row.
No, unless it's like a conversation ender. Like, great, meet you there at 5. And then an hour in between, I need something else. And I'll be like, okay, I'm on my way. I'll see you there. Like that, like requires like a double text. But no, not like a.
See, this is where we're very different. I totally would. I would say so what was the last thing dude said?
Yeah, so much fun. So glad we got to hang out or something stupid like that.
And so if that were me, I would say like, cool, when can I see you again?
Oh, but I don't want to see him again. That's the thing.
So you just want him to say, Bridget, I love you so much.
Kind
of.
of.
The best time. I know you will never date me, but I just need you to know that I would like to marry you.
Well, like not saying that, but I would
like
just
some version of that.
I just need to know the feeling of like, oh my God, you were the absolute best. Like,
oh, you were just. And
then I'm like, okay,
so
great. I
sweet,
need it.
But I just cannot get myself to even like look at you that way. That's like what you want to be able to say to him.
No, I don't know. This is what I'm saying. It's like a little mind game weird thing.
This is why I have tried to give you my therapist number for years.
Betsy, you like are the same way.
You
would like any dude that's ever like you want them to be obsessed with you forever. Even if like you're like, nope, I have a significant other, but you better stay obsessed with me. You're the same way, so don't even try to act right now.
I've never said you better stay obsessed with me.
Well, to me, you say to me like that, like, well, what? That he's already moved on to someone his own age? Like, yeah, Betsy, you told him you're too young and I'm in love with my dude. Like, what do you expect him to do? And you're like, well, I don't know. I thought he was gonna be obsessed with me forever. So like, shut up over there.
So maybe we need to have a joint therapy session.
Maybe.
With Dr. D, because it seems like we're both a little fucked. But just so you know, it's all a game. Everyone's fucked, Bridget. It's not just us. It's not. Like, everyone wants to win. I don't care to win in any situation other than that situation.
I like to win a lot of things.
I know you do. You're very competitive.
Yes. But, like, I will literally, even if it hurts me more just to never talk to you again, I will do that.
I know. You've tried to do that to me before.
I'm like crying myself to sleep, and I'm like, she watched my story yet? Does she know that I'm not doing anything over here?
And then I have to reach out to Bridget and be like, Bridget, this is really silly. At some point, we're going to have to talk. And then she's like, yeah, you're right, period.
And then we talk, and she's like, okay, so it is like almost a therapy session with you. Okay, so why did you feel the need to be a brat and say what you said? Well, you pissed me off, Betsy. Okay, but why didn't you just say, Betsy, you pissed me off? Why did you feel the route to go, LOL, okay.
LMFAO, LOL.
I'm never laughing my ass off. It's never running away. I am usually LOLing, though.
You are LOLing. It's very, very irritating.
Okay, so basically when people ask me, like, why are you single or how are you single, like, maybe I should just listen back to this podcast. Maybe that's why.
I think that this podcast would give you a lot of insight as to why you are currently in the situation you're in.
But I don't know. I just don't think that any of these people are, like, the one, so I just go through different tactics. Some I say I'm going to be in Ireland at the end of the month, and some I just never talk to again.
Well, listen, you need to give us an update about how you get out of this Ireland story, because I feel like he's still coming with the questions. Like, hey, all right, so I'm packing for Ireland. Or am I going to see you? Like, should I bring like date night clothes? What's going on? You need to keep all of us posted, because that's a really good psychotic story.
I mean, I think the wedding might just have to be canceled. We'll see. This fake wedding that's not even happening.
It turns out she left him the week before the wedding.
Yeah, can't believe it.
It's a likely story. I feel like that like happens to people.
All right, next episode, I feel like we have to dive into this a little bit more, but when it comes to social media, because that communication is like a whole nother world.
Like if I said to our 22-year-old friends, that's a whole nother can of worms. Do you think they'd get it? Do you think they'd have any idea what I was talking about?
I don't know.
They wouldn't.
Do you think that they would know? Like, I say a lot of like weird
sayings. You say the worst ones.
Like what?
Like, I don't know. I hate when you call me a stinker.
Oh, you stinker. Yeah. I think I've actually said that to the 22-year-olds, but they like it. See, sometimes like my humor that you think is so like, ooh, she's so annoying. Most people actually do laugh at.
Like the first time, but like when you've heard it 947 times, me,
Yeah.
it's done.
Some of them are like good though.
Like what?
The insightful ones when you're like telling me a story and I'm like,
insightful
you know, Betsy, at the end of the day, a leopard can't change its spots. That's a good one, and it's so true. It's basically saying that they're never going to change.
Oh, was that what it was saying? All right, I think we need to go.
Yeah, I think it is time. All right, I feel like this episode, if you're listening on Apple or Spotify right now and not watching it on video, this one might need to be because I forgot about all of my emoji impersonations.
You can also watch on Spotify, by the way, but yeah.
Yes, and on YouTube.
And YouTube.
Anywhere you get your podcast, type in Almost Rich, Almost Famous. Something of Bets and Bridge will pop up. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back again soon. Cheers.
Cheers.